One of the other things that I'm reminded of, one of my favorite classes as a ministerial student was philosophy class. And in the philosophy class, I think it was Plato, but anyway, it says that we live in each other's deaths and we die in each other's lives. And that is how we learn the value of the people that we have with us. That when someone we love passes away, sometimes we see the value in life and we push forward to live life more fully for those who can't. And then we also just have the opportunity to love, and we see the value. And like George was saying, we don't notice it until it's taken. So in the daily spiritual practices, how wonderful it would be to empower ourselves, to value ourselves and each other, and what we've been able to create as the Downey Center for Spiritual Living, with a loving community, with spiritual practices that reveal love for ourselves and each other. And that is what I get out of listening to Gary, George, and Sunshine. I'm already blessed. It's filled with overflow, and then we're always got the silent strength in the background of Reverend Kevin that is supporting us, being a container for the context of us being together. It is what the internet provides us. It's what this community provides us. To know that we're not alone, we're all one. Correct? And I really appreciate that everything that anybody has shared, and I leave it open if anybody would like to add anything else to that, because we are truly a blessing that out of everybody in this world that we got to be us. We got to be loved by our parents, our children, our community. We get to reveal our talents, and it's specific for each one of us. And then when we look in the mirror, just go, that's the cutest version of God I've ever seen. Because it starts with what we say to ourselves and what we make it mean. We can either empower ourselves with freedom or bondage ourselves with worry, doubt, fear, and guilt, blame, shame, and the list goes on there. I am going to start my presentation today with the title from the beginning, start slideshow. So from the title, the 2021 theme for the year is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. For February, it's been one journey, many paths. And today it's the journey of freedom. And I think it's interesting that I get to talk on this because Freedom Light Prison Ministry was something I loved doing for years. Is that I would go into the Federal Correctional Institute, FCI Terminal Island, 10 times a month and work with the men in prison that were happier than most of the people I knew outside of prison, because they knew that they couldn't let their environment cage them or define them. They were on their journey to freedom. And Gary started us off with this wonderful slide, or this saying. It is from the Science of Mind. It is on the very first page, like he mentioned. The divine plan is one of freedom. God's plan for us is freedom. We get the freedom of choosing what and who we say we are and what life is and what we make it mean. We get to determine how it feels, and we get to also share it with everyone according to our worldview. I remember in the Bible, I can't remember what book it's from, but it said that God walked the earth with Adam and Adam got to name everything. So do we. There are common names for things, but we get to name it because we can say that it's a dog and it could be a derogatory, or that's a dog. Let's come here, puppy. We get to determine how we use the words, what we make them mean. That bondage is not God ordained. Bondage is man-made laws, man-made rules, and they can limit us instead of letting us express free. They limit us until we see the value in it. And then we get to break free and expand beyond that and be an example of freedom for everyone. Freedom is the birthright of every living soul. And I like this. I like the way that Gary used it in the meditation, because our divine plan is our understanding of who God is and what God is in our life. That we can have an idea of what God is, but our personal experience, our personal understanding is what sets us free. Who we say life is, who we say God is, who we say we are in it, is that if we say that God is love, but that person over there drives me crazy, that's just an opportunity for us to look at what we're making it mean and how to free ourselves from it. And I want to share, and I put this slide in here because the seed of freedom must be planted in the innermost of man. But like the prodigal son, man must make the discovery for himself or herself. The seed of freedom must be planted. That means that life begins on the inside. That the seed of the idea of who we are, the seed of freedom must be in us. And then like the prodigal son, we get to go have all these different experiences that either empower us or humble us until we get that the discovery of God is in our innermost being, that we are who we say we are. Our experiences are man-made. We get to have them. We get to choose what path we take, and we get to choose the meaning of the path, and we get to choose the lesson of the path. I have many people that look at experiences that I've had, and they tell me their interpretation of my lesson. And I love them for it because it helps me get a fuller idea of what it's been like. But the one that I value, the one that I learn from, is the one I tell myself and what I make it mean. So we must, no, I'm sorry, that's me being a mom. We're invited to look at planting seeds in the garden of our soul, that the revealing of what we believe and value is made manifest through our actions and our surroundings, our environment. I decided to plant my garden. I got some sweet peppers. If I plant sweet peppers, what am I going to get? Anybody? What do you think is going to grow if I plant sweet peppers?
Sweet peppers.
Woo! Tell her what she's won, Bob. I love this. And if I plant cilantro, what am I going to get?
Cilantro.
I love it. And if I you can tell I'm Spanish. If I plant peppers, what am I going to get? And I've got tomatoes in here. If I plant tomatoes, what am I going to get? The universe is so concise in responding to our request that it gives us what we focus on. So we want to be able to understand and know ourselves so clearly that that happiness is an inside job, that what we talk about, what we think about, what we want to experience in the world is based on the things we say and the things we involve ourselves in, and what we look for from others, we might want to cultivate within ourselves. That I love, love, love that there are people with experiences and knowledge that we can go to, like a practitioner or a minister at the center, that we can go to and ask for help and guidance. But this center, this teaching by Ernest Holmes, is to empower the individual, that the individual can stand in its own abilities and work through whatever life presents. That we want to empower. There's no hierarchy in this. There's only, I've taken this many classes and you've taken this many classes, and so it goes. But the teaching of Science of Mind is to empower each individual to know that their divinity is within themselves. And that as we release the bondages of our past experiences and forgive ourselves for our misperception and our man-made laws, as we forgive ourselves for the rules that we try to make others follow that are impossible for ourselves to do, that we discover that love blooms from us, and that scent of love attracts all the beautiful butterflies that want to come and play in your garden. And this is the power of the seed that we plant in each one of ourselves, that we plant in each other. When I look at Sunshine, I see her radiant face. You guys all see it. We're attracted to her light. And we see the love, that the continued support that each one of us show each other as we show up. I get excited when I see John, Bert, Martha, Bertha, I got your words mixed up there. But each one of us is a divine light that reminds me of love. And that's what I like about God, is that on my path of just trying to learn what is Science of Mind, to God, I wish I could pray like that person. So I became a practitioner. And then I discovered I love the learning so much, I didn't want to stop. And I continued with the learning. And then all of a sudden they go, oh, congratulations, you're a minister. I'm like, ah, this is so beautiful that every step that we allow more love in, it offers more love to us, to where we finally get to the point where there's no them, there's no they, there's just God expressing. The one breath we breathe, the one life we live is the very life of God. And that life is our life now. And that is the beauty and the potential of planting the seeds of freedom. And the seeds that you plant may produce either freedom or bondage according to the way it's used. We can create a garden that is full of wonderful things, but if we put too many peppers in the salsa, it's going to be too hot to eat. So we want to be careful that we use what we're asking for properly. Like if we think that we're critiquing somebody or criticizing somebody, that criticism can be viewed as being mean. But in the heart of hearts, knowing each and every one of us, we're only offering help. Who doesn't like to add value and add help? I love to help. So when you're offering, you never know where the person's receiving. So we have the opportunity to look at within ourselves. If this was said to me, how would I feel? And is there a way that I can communicate this so that it supports love in me and others? Because nothing is going to happen to you that does not happen through you. So the freedom and the bondage is for you. And I know if through my spiritual path of learning and becoming and revealing and accepting and surrendering, there were some velvet handcuffs I didn't want to let go of, because the story and the meaning I gave the story gave me significance in a way I wasn't ready to give up to be a beneficial presence for everyone. I know that makes sense, right? I know that we are all on task. And at the beginning of this talk, there was a slide that had two paths. And it says the journey of freedom. No matter what road you take, You're on the road of spiritual awakening and evolving. It doesn't matter. You can take the road of bondage or you can take the road of freedom, but they're all going to have their lessons and opportunity for you to look at yourself, to make sure you're understanding your values and your beliefs, that you can become a container and an opening for God. So each man, each person whose thought is the most godlike, that is the truest and the highest, the most noble, the most complete, the most peaceful, will be the best healer. What does Ernest Holmes mean by that? Can you take a breath and accept that the life you live is the life of God? Can you surrender that no works can improve what God has already made perfect? Can you accept that good enough is good enough, that God has already made you the good enough and the best enough and the goodest enough available? That can you just surrender that the breath I breathe gives me life, and that life is God's life, and that life is my life now. In that surrender, without having to read the 5 books that are on your nightstand or take or finish the course that the exercises and the courses that you've taken that you never fully did, but there's an inherent belief and awareness in you that this is true, that there's no spot that God is not. Omnipresence means everywhere, all the time, all knowing. So when we surrender and allow ourselves to know that if God is everywhere, in everything, as everything, that means me and that means you. And Reverend Michael used to say, don't judge them where they're at. You don't know how far they've come. And I have to tell you that when I look at my papers and I read my papers and the prerequisite classes before I could become a practitioner, and even as a practitioner, I went, oh my God, this is like 6th grade work compared to how I understand and know now. If you continue the spiritual practice, if you continue to develop, you can expand the wisdom and the knowledge, but nothing has changed from the heart of a loving person from the first class I took to where I'm at now. That loving person that wanted to accept myself and love others in a deeper and more meaningful way is still here before you today. And as I forgive myself and love myself and embrace myself, I can do that for you. And I only reject in you what I don't accept for myself. So when I do that, I just go, oh gosh darn, I think I will become a more peaceful, better healer by loving myself just the way I am. And just to have you know, the more you let your light shine, the bigger your shadow's gonna be. There's never gonna be a time where you don't get to express a deeper understanding and look at knowledge. There's never gonna be nothing to do. There's always gonna be an edge in which you get to expand and grow and learn and accept that, yeah, you know what? You are meant to be right where you are. You're meant to be the loving wife or the loving husband or the person that gets paid very well, or the person that gets to be asked to do things you never would have expected, or just practice and the opportunities will come. And I tease everybody that the caterpillar, I'm sure, didn't feel good about becoming a butterfly. But the butterfly sure loves flying and being beautiful and going. And what does a butterfly do? They go from flower to flower. What a wonderful life that is. So the beautiful thing about this is that as a kid, I remember reading books where we could get a butterfly net and go chase butterflies. As an adult, I've learned that I can grow a garden that attracts butterflies. And as a learner, as somebody that is seeing and allowing my spirit to play at any platform it wants to, I've discovered that I carry around a belly full of butterflies specific for me that allows me to stay in that awareness that, yes, if I have butterflies, I'm on the edge of growth. I'm allowing myself to stay green and grow. I don't want to ripen and rotten. No matter what day, no matter what age, I want to continue to thrive in the love of God. And I want to share with you that we can sit in the shade or we can move into the sunshine. Sitting in the shadow, we may not believe that there is any sunshine, but the sun will be there all the time. Oops, even as we misspell a word. We can be in the bondage of thinking there's no sunshine, or we can be in the freedom that knowing it always exists. And I shared, I think, that one time I was on a plane and the day was gloomy and it was sad, and I was having a difficult time. And we went through the clouds, and we were in the clouds for a really long time. And I thought, oh my God, I hate flying where I can't see where I'm going. You know, let's bust through these clouds. We're finally on top of the clouds. And unless you've ever been on top of the clouds, you don't, it's so beautiful. It's like nothing you can ever see from Earth. You have to be on top of the clouds. When I was exiting the plane, I told the pilot, I said, oh my God, I'm so scared. Don't ever fly me through the clouds like that again. And his response was beautiful to me. He said, "Ooh, I like flying on the clouds." He goes, "You can't depend on just the instruments. You got to believe that you have faith in the instruments. You have faith in what you've been taught, and that this is happening, and that this is a safe and fun experience. You have to surrender from being able to see anything and operate in faith." How good is that? How powerful is that? To live, even though it doesn't look like what you expected it to be, that you're going through this for a higher perspective, a point of view where the sun is above the clouds, that yes, that the clouds may cast a shadow, but it's temporary. Because what Gary is also famous for saying, that our mind is the sky, or that we're the mountain, the mind is the sky, and the clouds are thoughts. So if we can stand in our faith, to stand so strong that nothing and no one can stop us or hinder or block us for believing in God, we will reveal the sun that is us, the beauty that is us, the butterflies that are in us that are waiting to fly free in the garden of our environment that we created. Allow yourself to be the love you've been looking for. Allow yourself to be the comfort. And as a matter of fact, blankets are on a big time high right now. Did you know that? Weighted blankets that will give you comfort so that you can relax your body. So the weight of what you blanket yourself may give you comfort. And I invite you to use it when you need it. But throw the blankets of separation off and feel free. Have you ever noticed that whenever someone is taking the step of freedom or greater awakening or allowing themselves to be more than what they ever thought they could be, that the free falling is part of the examples to give you a visual of what it's like for them? Be in the free fall, because God has got this. And I'm going to give you this little cartoon. And I would like to say I drew it, but I didn't. But it would look like something I could draw. And one little figure is saying, where did you find that? I've been searching for it everywhere. And the other little one is holding a jar of happiness. And his response is, I created it myself. And there where your true power lies is that if you're waiting for someone to give you happiness, somebody could be pouring happiness on you, but if it doesn't look like what you expected, you're not going to know to receive it. When you create it, then you can share it. Then you can understand and know that there's more than one way to be happy. There's generous ways to give, and that we're not putting the burden of somebody else to make me happy, that I bring it. I know that for you. We bring it. That's who we are. We're Downey Center for Spiritual Living. No person, place, or thing can define us other than the God's love of the expression that we are who we are. And love is never outside yourself. Love is within you. Love is who we are. Love is what we came here for. Now, see, I never would have sang outside on the inside voice, I would have. But because I've done all the classes, I'm going to sing. I'm going to let my spirit sing. And I'm going to close with this. Love acts through me, and the law of love frees us all. So I invite you to breathe that in, that love is your true nature, that love provides you with many opportunities to experience life. And the law of love will allow you to take any path you choose. We're all on the path of God. There's no way we can get lost because we're at home right where we are. God is omnipresent. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you again today. I love you. I thank God for you. And so it is.
So it is.
And I'm going to stop the share so I can see everybody's
Wow.
beautiful face again.
Thank
There
you,
we
Reverend
are.
Judy.
There you are, each and every one of you. That we are here by divine right action, divine right timing, and the divine wisdom of God is your very beautiful face. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Judy.